Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. This is Make It Destination. My name is Amanda. This is where I help you make it to your destination. I hope your Tuesday is going pretty well. Hopefully things are starting to look up for travel sooner rather than later. So this week I'm excited to share with you my experience from traveling to the city that never sleeps. New York was hit hard by the whole situation, so hopefully, whether you live in upstate New York or you're from New York City, or whether you live in the tri-state area, hopefully you'll decide to go to New York City after this video. So let's get to it. Alright everyone, this week we're going to be talking about New York City, one of my favorite cities that I've ever been to. And it's one that I've been going to for a very long time now. My dad's family lives in the city, so if anybody is watching, hi, miss you, hope everything's going well. And even as an adult, I've been going to the city for various occasions, and it's just a city that I never get tired of, and it's one that I love the energy, I love the people, I love the hustle and bustle. I know they say New Yorkers are harsh, but I just feel like it's the city that never sleeps. There's always something to do. So I just want to help people plan their trips to New York City because I feel like it's a spot a lot of people want to go to, but it can be overwhelming. So the first thing I want to say is usually I'm going to New York City for something. And what I mean by that is I'm usually going for a concert or a music festival. So I usually like to make a trip out of it. Sometimes it's hard when it's a music festival. It's easier when it's a concert. But I've been to Electric Zoo 3 years in a row. I go to a lot of concerts and raves in the city. And I feel like sometimes when a trip is for a concert or a rave, it kind of makes it easier to figure out things to do. I don't know why. I think it's because you already have a set thing that you're going to do. But I would recommend to go to the city for a concert. Doesn't matter what concert. It could even be a show. Sorry if you hear my dog barking. It could even be for a show. I've been to the city to see Getter, to see Space Jesus, Cookie Monster, Dad Sick. I know these are names you probably don't know. They're all EDM artists, but I've been to two main venues. One is PlayStation Theater, and I really liked that venue. It was big, lots of places to dance. It was dark, which I like because then you could actually see the stage in a clear way. And the sound in there is great. The second venue that I've been to is Terminal 5. Again, sorry if you hear my dog. The second venue that I've been to is Terminal 5, and that is a very cool venue to go to. It's like 4 or 5 stories high, and it's just, you get to usually choose where you go unless you buy a ticket for like the floor or I believe like one of the second or third floors, but I think they let you go wherever you want to go. So the sound in there is great. Sometimes when you're on like in the pit, you can't really see the stage too much, but honestly I always love just going to the second or third floor, looking at it from above. Really cool. I would definitely say go to the concert or show. I've also been to the Met to see operas when I was, I believe, in middle school, and that was an awesome experience. You could go to Broadway. There's a lot of shows and experiences you could have. So I would say, just to narrow it down, maybe choose a concert and make a trip out of that, maybe for 3 or 4 days. So the second thing that I want to say is, if you have time, explore more than just Manhattan. Manhattan is great. It's always in the movies, shows, the media, but it doesn't really give you a super authentic view of New York City. There are parts of Manhattan that are authentic. There are different neighborhoods. But honestly, I've found more quirkier sides and kind of more relaxed vibed sides of New York City outside of Manhattan. So I know I always say get an Airbnb in your central location because then you won't pay as much in Uber or Lyft costs. But I would say in New York City situation to get an Airbnb outside of Manhattan because they're always so expensive. Like if you're staying 4 days, 3 nights, you're most likely paying $800 or more. I wouldn't say to stay in New Jersey because that's harder to get to. I would say stay in Brooklyn or Queens or the Bronx because New York City has such a great public transportation system. You know, this isn't LA where the city's super laid out and you have to drive everywhere. You could jump on the subway and you're in Manhattan in 20, 30 minutes. And honestly, the subway system is very easy to use. You get an MTA card, you swipe it, you see which line you have to go on. You could also ask your Airbnb host, because, you know, I understand sometimes it is overwhelming to look at a subway map. But honestly, it's easier than driving in the city and you get there quicker. So you stay outside of Manhattan and just try to plan around the 20 to 30 minute time frame. So if you have to be somewhere, just get on the subway earlier. And also, like, you know, we've stayed in Williamsburg, Brooklyn, we stayed in Red Hook, Brooklyn. I haven't really stayed in Queens personally. I have family who live in the Bronx. And honestly, it's just, I feel like you get to know the different facets of New York City more. You get to see different cultures, different types of people, smell different types of food. So you can explore Manhattan. I'm not saying don't go there, but try to explore a little more than just Manhattan. The third thing that I want to say is it is okay if you feel overwhelmed in the city. It is an overwhelming place. There's a lot going on. There's cars, there's people, you know, there's lights, there's always something. I mean, I know this whole situation has made New York City, you know, the city that sleeps now a little bit. But usually there's always something going on. So it's okay if you feel overwhelmed. There have been times where I go to the city where I feel overwhelmed, especially in the summer because everybody's out, everybody wants to do things. There's really no seating that you could find in public areas, you know, and sometimes you just want to sit down and have a drink from Starbucks or just relax somewhere. But it's literally like you have to have a code to use the bathroom or you have to, you know, buy something to stay here for 30 minutes. And then if you sit there for too long, they're going to tell you something. So just be okay with the fact that you feel overwhelmed. When you do feel overwhelmed, you know, go to Central Park or go to a park or a public space and just people watch. Just sit down. Sometimes that kind of takes away from all the stimulation that you're getting. It is a lot, especially if you're not used to a city like that. You know, if you're from another big city, you know, it's probably a little overwhelming, but it's not too much. But when you're from upstate New York, sometimes it can be a lot. It's literally the city that never sleeps. You know, you don't hear a pin drop. So have a plan, you know, when you're feeling overwhelmed. I'm not saying you have to plan your day, you know, by the hour and have to be there, but just have a plan so that you feel as though you're adding some structure to your trip. So that's not just you kind of going with the flow of New York City's craziness. Try to have a plan, try to have points of interest you want to go to, and just let me know in the comments, where do you like to go in New York City? Are there places you've wanted to go to that you're going to plan on going, I can't even speak, that you're planning on going to after the situation? You know, let me know points of interest that you think I should go to. You know, just let me know in the comments. Also like this video, see how I fit that in there? Like this video and subscribe. But, you know, just have cool points to check out, you know? Like one time Sam and I went to the Museum of Sex, you know, that was kind of a cool thing. I never thought I would go there. It was pretty funny. You know, it was a nice experience. Just know you're going to pay a premium price in the city. You know, there are free things that you can do, but make sure, you know, you save up a good amount if you want to go to museums or go out to eat because it can get pricey. Last but not least, restaurants. There are a few restaurants I want to recommend in the city that I've been to that I think you should go to when planning your trip. So the first one I want to talk about is 5 Napkin Burger. So whenever Sam and I go to the city, we always find that finding a good restaurant, this might be an absurd statement, is very difficult because even though you are in the city of great restaurants, of good food, there's just an abundance of choice, right? Like, you could have low end, you could have high end, you could have super pricey, you could have cheap, you could have, you know, American, Asian, German, anything you think of, you could probably have in New York City. So it is very overwhelming. But usually when we go to the city, since we're spending so much on the Airbnb and maybe the transportation costs, we usually try to go for a burger or pizza place. So Five Napkin Burger was somewhere we went right before a concert. The burger was delicious. They had these Oreo milkshakes. Oh, they were so good. But that's when I found out I was lactose intolerant because 20 minutes later it was not a good scene. As I was running through the streets of New York City looking for a public bathroom, which if you've been to New York City, finding a public bathroom is like finding a needle in a haystack. Like you either need to buy something, you need a code, they don't let you in, they don't have a public one. Like it is very difficult. Thankfully I found one. Otherwise it would have been pretty bad. But it was worth the Oreo milkshake. So Five Napkin Burger is right near Terminal 5 because we were going to a Flatbush Zombies concert. And it's right in Manhattan. It's a cool little spot. And honestly, it's pretty affordable. You get a good bang for your buck. So if you're looking for an affordable place, that's the place you should go. Another place I want to talk about are the dollar pizza places. I don't know why, but every time Sam and I go to New York City, we have to go to one of these dollar pizza places. I think a pie is like maybe like $7. It is super cheap. It's literally $1 a slice. And I don't know, they let you put spices on it. It's very simple, but it's delicious. They're usually open 24/7. And I don't know why, we just love it so much. So try a dollar pizza shop. Couldn't hurt. If you don't like it, it was only $1. But honestly, if we go every time, it's probably pretty good. But I would recommend put some seasonings on there. We usually put, I believe, like oregano, some red pepper flakes, Parmesan, and basil, and you're set. I feel like a lot of people overthink pizza. And honestly, if you have good dough, good sauce, and cheese, you're set. If you're looking for a place that's a little higher end, but still produces really good pizza, you want to go to Soto Casa in Harlem. That pizza place, we stayed in Harlem, I believe, our second year for Electric Zoo. It's downstairs under in a brownstone. Beautiful. We ordered a small pizza, which I don't know why we did a small, because Sam and I could eat like no tomorrow. We should have got like 2 or 3. But anyways, we got a cheese pie. Oh my gosh. Delicious, very affordable. You could tell they use fresh ingredients. We would have loved to eat there. I honestly don't know why we didn't eat person. Sometimes when we travel, we just like to get something to go, especially if we were on a train and we drove and had a lot of transportation stuff that day. We just like to, chill out in the Airbnb for a bit. But Soto Casa in Harlem, delicious pizza. And I bet the service would have been great. Because when we picked up the food, the ambiance was nice. Like we were like, oh, maybe we should have stayed inside. But delicious food. Another place I want to mention is Fort Defiance. This was a cool place in Red Hook in Brooklyn. Brooklyn has gone through a lot of changes within the past few decades. But this is a quirky little bar/restaurant. It is very small, so I don't know how they're doing with the whole situation. But we went here for brunch pretty much every day of Electric Zoo, and we felt filled, but not overly filled, and it was healthy food at an affordable price. We had food, I forgot what we had. I had like a huevos rancheros, that was really good. They just had a lot of delicious options, and the service was always great. And I don't know, it's just like a quirky, like hippy-dippy sort of restaurant. So if you're looking for brunch, that is your spot. I believe they only do brunch on weekends, but again, I'm not 100% sure, and I think obviously they do dinner because they're mainly a bar. And lastly, just a shout out to my family, Washington Heights. There are 2 restaurants we always go to. Dallas BBQ, delicious, big drinks. I haven't been able to go since the whole situation. I've only been above 21 for a year. So I want to go with my family, drink it up, have some good barbecue, and just have fun, And they have multiple locations, but that's just, I don't know why. It's just always been a place we've gone to. Good pricing, good drinks, delicious food, and hopefully I'll be able to go once the situation is over and get a little tipsy. And the other one that I want to talk about is Malecon, and that's a good Caribbean, Dominican place to go to. I believe that's right in the heart of Washington Heights. I forgot what like exact street, but the food there is good as well. So yeah, that's my experience with New York City. Don't forget to like this video, hit the subscribe button, and again in the comments let me know, what do you like about New York City, what don't you like about it, and let me know what restaurants or points of interest you like. And so I'll say thank you, and until next time.